Good evening, everybody. This is Young Penitent. Welcome to the Bachelor Pad. If you can hear me, put a thumbs up in the chat. And I think I set the tone with the music that I chose there that I think people will I'll explain what that means. I think you might understand what that means. The music I chose looks like we got a thumbs up, so we're good. Okay, so the music that I chose for my introductory theme today was the circus, because I gotta say that Orthodoxy online is a circus. It's just a circus sideshow freak kind of thing, But, well, it just is, and it comes with the territory. We're using these blasted social media channels that we have no control over, really. We don't control the algorithm. We don't control how they're run, and they control us. But we can try to control ourselves a little bit and not contribute to drama and infighting, Orthodox infighting, things like that. So I'm not going to be trying to contribute to that today. Today I'm going to be talking about just a little issue that came up today, this week on my X, and we're going to be talking about liturgical double dipping. It's just a little bit of a problem that I see. It's just a little problem. It's just a little one. It's not a big one. That is created from the existence of two calendars in the church simultaneously. Now, I have discussed the old calendar and the new calendar issue before in a live stream that I think was very comprehensive, and I've many times suggested that people go and watch that video because, I pretty much go into the whole history of it, why it would be better for the whole church. This is what I advocate. I think the whole church should just go back to the old calendar. So we're all on one calendar. We're all celebrating together. There's no division. Having a separate calendar in the church kind of is schismatic in a way, just because it causes this schism, the schism of having this two separate days that people are, if that we are celebrating the different various feasts and commemorations in the services in the church. And I agree with Andrew. Andrew says in a comment, the GOC is a joke. The old calendar is, the calendar, the church calendar. It is not a dogma, and if somebody is not using that calendar, does not mean that you are a heretic. You're not a schismatic. You're not outside of the church if you're not using the church calendar. We've talked about all this before, but this is just a little issue, a little thing, just a little finer point. That we're going to be talking about today, a finer point that people can learn. Being an Orthodox Christian, you're always learning. By the way, like the stream, press the like, subscribe to the stream, share it with your friends. Let's spread it around. But welcome everybody tonight. But before we start talking about this, I want to share something. Now, a lot of you Zoomers out there are probably not going to be familiar with this scene, the double dip, the meme, the double dip, the chip meme. This was a meme before memes were existed. This was a meme when I was in high school, and a show called Seinfeld was the most popular show on TV. And back then, we didn't get entertainment on social media on our computers because it wasn't really a thing. It wasn't really developed. We'd go and sit down and watch a television, the boob tube, and we'd watch television shows. And Seinfeld was one of those ones that most people watched. It was probably the most popular show at the time. And so I'm going to show a clip from a skit, a scene, just to familiarize people with this meme that I'm talking about. Because, like I said, you Zoomers probably didn't see it. So I don't know if I get a copyright strike or something for sharing this. I might, but it's worth it. It just means I'm going to lose monetization for the video, maybe, which would be fine because I don't really get enough views to make any money on it anyways. So that doesn't bother me. I mean, I know how many views this video is going to get already. It's going to get somewhere between 1 to 300 views, probably, maybe around 200 views. That's about my average. So here's a clip. I'm just going to share it without comment. All right, you get the point. So the guy's going for the dip, and he dips the chip twice, and he's contaminating the pot. And this was like, everybody started saying this when I was in high school. Everyone started just like saying, oh, you double dipped, you dipped the chip, you double dipped the chip. It was like a thing. It was a meme. It was something that passed on mimetically, because it was just a memorable thing. And later on in that episode, I think they, the main characters, they would just discuss what happened endlessly, which is what these, apparently what people in New York, these, single people in New York do. They just talk about what happened over and over. But the idea here that I'm getting around to, I think, to get to the show, get to the picture, or get to the point. What do I mean when I'm bringing up this double dip chip? Well, like I said, I'm talking about a finer point, in church life. And here's Orthodox encounters who we're trying to get on. We're trying to get him on to the show. We're going to try to get this guy as a guest. He has his own channel. He says, best show ever on television. I think Simpsons maybe might be the best. That's my my favorite. I don't know best, but so the point that I'm talking about is that there exists the possibility with the old and the new calendars that you could, foreseeably, say you could go to Nativity on January 25th on the new calendar. And, you go to the celebration and receive communion. And then you go again. There's another possibility 13 days later when the old calendar feast happens. And you could conceivably attend church in a new in an old calendar parish on Nativity again. Now, I mean, personally, just like thinking about that, what is that like? How does that work? Think about it. Nativity itself is, you've got a 40-day fast and you're preparing for it. And the services that lead up to Nativity are preparing you for Nativity. They're referencing the coming feast. And you're getting prepared. You've been fasting, repenting, and confessing. And you're getting ready for this feast. And it happens, boom, shabam. And you've got the feast. You feel this joy. And you got the joy of the feast. And then 13 days later, you find yourself at another parish. You haven't been fasting. You've been probably feasting for the last 12 days. And are you really ready? Are you really prepared to go in and celebrate that feast? Like, conceivably you could, partake of that joy again, and I'm not saying don't go. My personal recommendation would be not to receive communion a second time for that feast, that particular feast. And I'll explain why. We'll get to that. And how did this come up? Why is this popping up today? Well, I'll just briefly share my screen again. Here on X. So I sent out this tweet. Luigi is saying, The elites don't want you to know this, but you can just attend both new and old calendar feasts. I went to both the new calendar Divine Liturgy for the Transfiguration and the old calendar one, and nobody stopped me. And I just commented, this is just me, it's just a comment, okay? I said, priests are not allowed to celebrate the same service twice. Laymen shouldn't take communion for the same commemoration twice. So this is an opinion I'm giving, and this part about the priests not being allowed to celebrate, this is just direction that priests in the church abroad receive from their bishop. And so there was actually, he edited this original post here. I don't remember exactly what he said. I believe he edited it. But there was an exchange after my comment between me and Luigi, and he took exception to my comment, and he immediately calls me a piety signaler. Now, if you look at my bio, it says chief piety signaler. So if you call me a piety signaler, I obviously don't care. This is not like third grade where you use, you just name call, I guess. It's not going to affect me. So, but he calls me piety signaler, and I try to get to the issue. I say, he deleted his responses to my, I responded to him, he responded to me. He deleted all of his comments. I don't know why. You can ask him. But he was, I was trying to get to the issue. I said, "Am I wrong?" And he just said, kept trying to ask me for my source. He kept going back to this, where's your source? Who told you this? And I wasn't really in any mood to explain to him where I get my knowledge. I've been an Orthodox Christian for 20 years. I learned things. I've been around. You pick up things from other people. You pick up things from your priests, your catechism, reading books, visiting monasteries, talking to people. So you learn things, and so you just pick things up. So I didn't really feel like justifying myself to this neophyte. And then he blocks me. Okay, fine. You don't want to have a conversation. That's the circus aspect I see. Like, he had just visited my parish like that weekend. He made this post about it. He says, "I am once again pointing out that there's nothing better than a tiny Russian Orthodox parish in a small town." So this is my parish that he took pictures of and posted. And I welcomed him. We welcomed him to the parish, and he was very cordial and very kind to us in person. And then he immediately goes online, and it's a different story. I don't understand this. If he comes back, maybe to my parish, maybe I'll have a chance to talk to him. But I'm blocked, so I can't. So anyhow, that was what prompted this stream. Looks like we have some comments. In FTU, am I still in the doghouse? I don't know. I just unfollowed you because I saw too many posts. You're in my timeline too much. That's sorry. I mean, nothing personal, but I just was getting sick of your posts on X. So, but we're cool, man. Don't worry about it. Orthodox Encounter says, Luigi seems to be more willing to go back and forth with Protestants than his own brothers in the faith. Not good. I've never felt right regarding his content for some reason. Okay, so I guess that's what he's doing. Mostly he's just having discussions with Mormons, and I guess his target audience is a little different than mine. I target Orthodox people who are already Orthodox and or becoming Orthodox mostly. So I guess he's a little further out the curve, trying to catch fish a little further away, out deeper into the ocean, I guess. So I mean, he seemed like a nice guy, but it's just kind of clownish for him to. He called me a clown. I mean, it's on my timeline here. I have a screenshot of it, but I posted a screenshot. But you know, whatever. Who cares? Moving on. I want to talk about this issue. Where are we talking about? Okay. What am I talking about? So where does this come from? Oh, by the way, I want to kind of go back into some of the comments. Let's look what people were saying. Like, I mean, I verified what I said. You know, I say here in this post, I got blocked for not providing a reference for this post. The canonical basis for my statement is that we are not to receive communion twice in one day. If you go to a feast on the new calendar, then double dip on the old, it is the same day liturgically. So, I mean, I didn't tell him he couldn't go to the church. He's just saying he went to Transfiguration. He's not saying he went to communion. So, I mean, I'm not even telling him he can't go to communion. He should follow the practice of his, you know, you follow the direction of your priest. You know, what we're doing in the church abroad generally is what I said, and we can go to the comments here and see how people responded. I mean, my priest agreed with me, like I said, but he said it's an opinion because, you know, the idea that we can't receive communion twice in one day was canonical, you know, was written into the canons before we had two calendars. What they're talking about is you can't go to, you know, they were assuming we only were on one calendar, and they're just saying you can't do that twice, you know. But liturgically, it's the same day, you know, so it's kind of an interpretation of the canon. This guy says it's legalistic and it's not applied by his bishops, but whose bishops? What church is he in? What he didn't say which jurisdiction. You know, this is here's Nathaniel Clark saying this is correct. Orthodox Mickey says this is true. Daniel Spiridon says my spiritual father, who was a retired priest, also said the same thing to me. Should not be going to the same feast multiple times. This guy agrees. And here's a post that I actually retweeted because this is Gregory Levitsky. He says, this is what we were taught in seminary. And Gregory went to St. Tikhon's, and which is a highly regarded seminary. And he says, what every clergyman I know abides by. And he's in the Russian Church abroad. So assuming he knows a lot of clergy and roll call, you can kind of basically assume that this is the basic practice in roll call. So maybe if your jurisdiction is roll call, you can go to the feast, you can go attend the service as a layman, but just don't receive communion twice for the same feast, which means you have to kind of remember what day did I. It's just a whole problem, you know. It's a whole hassle, which is why I'm advocating for going back. We all go back onto one calendar. And Father Joseph agrees with me. He says it's logically correct. So he's saying my interpretation of the canon is logically correct. And I'm gonna, let's see, I'll go to one more, let's see, one more thing I want to add to the stage is this, just a couple quotes that kind of back up what I'm saying. patristic witness. This was sent to me by a friend. First, Saint Nicodemus of the Holy Mountain in the Pedalion, the Rudder commentary. He explicitly explains that receiving twice in one day is not the tradition of the church, except in very rare pastoral necessity. The Eucharist is the fullness of Christ's body and blood, already complete. So doubling does not add anything. So if you were to go again and take communion again, it's not like you get more grace. It's the same, it's not going to add anything to you. So St. John Chrysostom also says, while he urges frequent communion, he also makes clear that the Eucharist is once per day within the liturgy. Approach the holy table with a pure conscience. Once you partake, you have received all. And there's also, my friend shared with me some canons, and I'm not a canonist. I've never studied the canons. I never picked up a book with canons in them and read them. I mean, you don't even want to pick that book up until you've prepared. You basically need a person, a teacher, a professor, someone who can guide you in that kind of thing, teach you how to approach the canons, how to read them, how to interpret them, how to understand them. So it's not really something I want to delve into. And I mean, I'm even hesitant to bring it up on my post on X, but so that's basically the stream. I just wanted to explain this finer point, that, you're new to the faith. This is this circus aspect that we have new converts that don't have a lot of experience or knowledge even. I mean, honestly, you know a lot about the faith, but there's no wisdom that helps you to apply it, and you end up making these kind of mistakes, and he's encouraging people to go to 2 feasts here, which I had to push back on a little bit. But, if he wants to come back to my parish, we'd welcome him again, and I would try to, I would talk to him if he's not, I doubt he's going to care or watch this, but I would try to talk to him and see what I did wrong to upset him, that he blocked me and called me a clown. So he's just, I guess he's just revealing my true colors, so everybody knows that I'm a clown now. So you guys, all you young Penitent fans, know that you're watching a clown, and you shouldn't take anything a clown says seriously. Maybe you shouldn't even be watching. No, I think you should. Keep coming back. We have a big stream coming up on Monday. I have booked this is kind of my big name for my channel. I booked Cyprian, and it's kind of a big interview, I think. I'm very interested in the topic that we're going to be discussing. We're going to be talking about AI psychosis. So check back in Monday at 3:30 p.m. Pacific time for that interview. Here is another comment from Father Joseph. If I can't celebrate more than once per altar per day, why would anyone go looking to receive again? Sufficient is the grace for the day thereof. So yeah, so that's another rule in the church, is that each altar can only be used once per day. So there's reasons. We have this big, long history of tradition, and the old calendar churches, let's just be honest, they seem to be doing a better job of adhering to the tradition, and the new calendar churches are more inclined to just wave it away with a hand. They might be focused on other things. So let's all go back on to the old calendar in conclusion. What else do I have to say? Source? What's your source? All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Catch you next one. Good night.